Episode 25 of the emergency shed cleanup is upon us. We have to get something out of here this week. Let's go and have a look. Now in this episode, we're not only going to go through some of this stuff here facing us, but I'm also going to look at a couple of things that I put on eBay from a recent episode. If you remember these vintage record player or turntable head shells and this stylus, I estimated $100 worth of value on each one when I was doing my tally up of what value we had, and here's how the eBay results went. They went quite well, and as you can see, both items sold. The first one, which was the complete cartridge, only had, well, I thought it had one bid at 100, but I see there that it had a second bid, which tells me that the winning bidder actually had put an extra bid on top, so he was prepared to pay more, and that one went to France. And the other one, well, there was two, the cartridge shells, $213, 15 bids, and they went to Germany. So very happy with those results, and as it shows that my estimate was quite conservative. Based on a bit of research, I knew they were going to go well, so excellent, very happy there. Okay, back to the job at hand. We have to get something else out of this shed. We got down to that old tool chest. Oh, actually that tin was a carryover tin. We did have a peek in that last time, so we'll go through that one first. It's not going to make much extra room in here, but it needs to be done. Now, I can't get the stuff out of this shelf unit from the side, so we have to work our way into the middle of the shed to get that. I could start at the top again on that next shelf unit, although we have a sort of higgledy-piggledy pile here that I would like to deal with. And I'm also going to do a video on that Briggs & Stratton engine very shortly. Now, we can't obviously take from the bottom. In fact, this one, the old printer can't come out because this box is resting on it. And of course, that one, you know, the knee bone's connected to the ankle bone and all that sort of stuff. So we'll have to go to the top of this pile. We have a industrial light and a vintage fan and another vintage fan. I don't know what that paper roll is. Not sure, we'll have to investigate that. Let's perhaps have a look at those fans, see what we're going to do with them. We'll have a look at the industrial light. They're quite popular, they sell very well. So I need to get those few things off before we can look in this box. So let's maybe target that section first, and once we clear that up, we can then work down through this pile, get all these things gone, and then attack this shelf in the middle. First things first, this little tin. We did peek in this one last time, and there was a bit of a mixture of everything. So let's go through it now, and we might get a surprising amount of value out of here. Now this is a tape measure. It's a Stanley 6 feet tape measure, number 1206, I think. It's actually not in bad condition. The casing is a little bit loose. I don't know why that's loose. Oh, it's just a Phillips head screw, so we should be able to tighten that. The metal tape itself actually isn't too bad, but the spring feels shot. Yeah, unless it doesn't have a retractable spring, because there's no button for it. It's quite possible that that's just a pull out and a push in. Regardless, I think it's saleable. I think it's, or the end's a little bit malformed. We should be able to fix that up. Stanley tools are collectible. This is a nice vintage one. I think we'll give that a little bit of a clean up, and we'll check eBay, but I think at least $5. It's certainly better than rubbish. And given that I'm sure that didn't have a button there, and there's certainly no other latch or controlling mechanism, so I think it's just a pull out and push in. All right, cool. We'll check that one out. Nice little G-clamp here. It's made in Japan. I'm going to keep this one. A workshop can never have too many G-clamps. It's a 1 inch made in Japan G-clamp. If I was to sell it, I'd probably put 5 on it, but I'm going to keep that one. Screwdrivers, they all just go in a box at the shop for $1 a pick. Likewise, these spark plug tools, that's a little bit different than normal. These are lawnmower spark plug tools. This is the more standard one. I've mentioned in a recent video that if they are branded, I will sell them at $5. But when they're just plain, I put them in the $1 box. They are made from a sort of a die-cast zinc, so I could throw them in with my cast aluminium. They're heavier than aluminium, but my scrapyard takes this die-cast zinc as cast aluminium. which is only $1 something a kilo, so we'll do better getting $1 for those in the $1 box at the shop. Just a random plumbing hose fitting, which I just usually throw in a box and sell by the bulk lot. So no real value there. Looks like a little drill bit set. I've been absolutely inundated with drill bits lately. This is only part of a set, obviously. What I might do is I might go through a box of drill bits I've got that I was just going to put like $10 a lot on, and I'll just get the right sizes and make this a complete set. They don't have to be sharp, and then we can actually sell. I don't know why there's a nail in there. We could actually sell this little drill set at $5 for a complete drill set. So you will do that. A washer from a hose fitting, probably. A little angle bracket, I have a box for those. This is a little points file for when you had points with your magnetos. Feels pretty well used. We'll just put that in the scrap. What have we got in here? A very dilapidated case. It looks like more drill bits. There's a split pin or a cotter pin. I have a jar for those. Interesting latch setup here. It's a very fashionable belt. The plastic containers absolutely had it. But again, more drill bits. And do drill bits attract nails? What's the go with that? Is this like companion planting? When you plant a drill bit, you've got to plant a nail. So again, it's just a random assortment. So I'll pull out whatever's in here to make up that other set. And then what's left we will sell as a bulk lot. There's a smaller file. That's a really thin file, and that feels quite sharp on the file teeth. I might keep that in my toolbox. And the rest of them are just drill bits. Oh, another nail. No, that's not it. A bent nail this time. So we'll check those out in a minute, but there's some value there. I can certainly sell drill bits. We have more drill bits in the bottom here. And of course, they're resting with a nail. That's just really odd. Quite a nice vintage screwdriver there. I might buff that one up. I reckon that's a nice enough screwdriver to make $5 if it's cleaned up. That looks like a radio knob from a car, an old car radio. It's heavy. It's not plastic. It will be a die-cast metal. And most car radios had a two-stage control knob, like a knob at the front for volume and a knob at the back for the tone or something. I do have a box of assorted radio knobs, and occasionally I fish through there and find exactly what I need, so that's where that one's going. Another washer from a plumbing fitting. That looks like a brass nut, or a brass screw and nut. Another big drill bit. I have a few more little points files, and other file. They all feel quite worn, so they can just go in the scrap metal. A couple of augers or wood drill bits. That one actually goes with the brace and bit. Well, that is the bit from a hand brace drill with the square drive. I do have a selection of those at the shop, so I'll add that to the pile. Here we have an old style tyre pressure gauge. Don't know what's on it. Looks like wax or paint or something. I can't see a brand on it. I think it probably will be branded. We will clean that up. And if you haven't seen one of these, when you put this part on the valve of the tyre, the air pressure pushes out the end to whatever pressure there is, and you read off the gauge. So that seems to be probably in operational condition. You can usually tell if you give them a flick, the centrifugal force pulls the thing out. If it doesn't do that, they're probably seized up and it might not be very accurate. We'd still need to check it on a known tyre pressure to know how accurate it is. But I will clean that up, see if there's a brand on it. We'll certainly get at least $5 for that. And that's about it in here, other than a couple of more drill bits and a little magnet. So, yep. And we'll clean up the tin. We'll just have a look at this tin now. And you can't really make out, I think it's flowers. Now it's a chocolates tin, maybe McRobertson's or something. Oh no, it's Hoadley's, which are a Melbourne chocolate company. £2, so it's It's in the 1960s probably, could even be late 50s. But we'll try and clean that up. I think you'll be surprised how well that cleans up. What I'm going to do is use some warm soapy water, some fine soapy steel wool, but not scrub it very hard because the paint will come off. Just enough to just get rid of any ingrained dirt, and the soap helps dissolve any oil. It's a little bit of rust. Feels very rough, but you might be surprised how well that cleans up. I think most people that pulled a tin like this out of a shed would probably just throw it straight in the bin, because you can't even read anything on there, and we're only guessing that it's flowers. I think it is. So we'll see how that cleans up. All right, I'll sort these sundries out. I'll sort out the drill bits, and we'll add these to the notepad shortly. Let's go and get some of the fans and have a look at those. I have the fans down from the clutches of the storage shed. We will talk about those shortly. Let's just look at the stuff I cleaned up out of this tin. Now, for a start, the tin looks better. I am a little disappointed. I thought it might have come up better than that. The paint is breaking down, and even just with a sponge it started to flake off, so I had to go very gently with the steel wool. But we can see that there's definitely flowers. It cleaned up quite well. The sides are all pretty good, and it's actually really nice and clean inside. So it's a nice vintage tin, and I've just put $5 on that. It should sell quite well at $5. I've put a bit of beeswax over it so it brings out a bit of gloss. But I did actually think that would clean up better than that, but we can't win them all. All right, we have some just basically $1 stuff there. The drill bits, I didn't quite get a full set here, but we've got most of the set. We're missing a few of the smaller ones, and all the others here. They're pretty good quality drill bits. A lot of them are Sutton or P&N, so they're good quality drill bits. A lot of them are quite used, but some of them are still pretty sharp. I thought $15 on the lot will be a bargain for someone, so we're going to go with that. I checked out the Stanley tape measure. It is a 1206 model. Now, this is made in England, and I saw quite a lot on eBay, almost identical, except they were the 1206W, and they were all made in the USA. So, interesting. As far as it goes for working, I don't think it has a retractable mechanism. I couldn't see anyone mention one. So I think it's okay, complete and usable. And I thought I'd go $10 on that one. The little screwdriver, I just dressed the end up a little bit, squared it up with a file, gave it a bit of a polish, bit of beeswax on the handle. We'll get $5 for that, a nice vintage and very usable screwdriver. And the tyre pressure gauge, cleaned up very nicely. It's an RVB brand, 20 to 140 pounds, and it's made in Australia, complete with a pocket clip. So I've put $10 on that. We should have no troubles getting 10 on that one. The other sundries we had, just the nails, broken files, broken drill bits just in the scrap, a little bit of wire, a little bit of brass, some nuts and bolts and things that I'll allocate to various containers here. The nice good little thin file that I actually used that file to clean up that screwdriver. So I'll keep that one. I found a reamer in with the drill bits, and I do keep those, so eventually I might get a full set of reamers. They're handy at times. I'm keeping the G-clamp, and I pulled out 3 drill bits that I think are virtually brand new. They might have been used once. This big one is branded Sutton, and the other 2 P&N brand. Very good quality drill bits, and they're pretty well as new, so they're going to go in my kit. And the radio knob. So our total out of that little tin, 25, 30, 40, $45 there. And now let's look at these fans. Now, I'm not going to do anything with these fans in this video. I'm just going to value them as they are, and I'm going to nominate $20 each, untested. They don't appear to be damaged at all. They're not broken as far as the casing goes. The cords on them actually look quite okay. They're the original cords. They'll be 1960s era fans. That one's a Speedy Indola with metal blades. Probably aluminium, I'd suggest. That one's an oscillating fan. This one here is an Airflow Warner Drayton, Melbourne made. I think the other one, the Speedy one, is Australian made. I'm not sure where they made them. An Airflow 10 is the model. Bit of rust on the fan there, so that fan must be a steel blade, I think. Let's try the magnet. No, they're aluminium. So that rust may have been from something resting against it. It might clean off okay. So it's a pretty cool fan, that one. It's not an oscillating one, but have a look at the back of it. It looks like a jet engine. And I love this 50s era metallic sort of, it's a hammer tone paint. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. And that paint is in really good condition. So this one, yeah, is probably 1950s. The other one's possibly early 60s. I'm going to value them at $20 each as they are untested for the purposes of this video. But I think we'll do a separate video in cleaning up both those fans and value adding them. And also as a bonus, I'll do this 1960s fan as well. So we'll clean them all up in a separate video. Just a little bit of tidy up. I'll show you how I neaten these things up. We might do a bit of paint on the blades perhaps. We'll give them a bit of a lube. We'll electrically test them so that they're safe. And that'll make a cool video, and it'll give me 3 great fans. Well, I mean, all you guys are fans too, I know that, but it'll give me some good shop stock as we're gradually leaving winter here and we'll be coming into the warmer months. And I expect we're going to have a very hot summer this year, judging by what Europe's having, which is pretty horrible at the moment. And my thoughts go out to anyone in Europe, particularly Greece, where there's a lot of fires at the moment. Anyway, fans, future video. And I also managed to get down this old enamelled light shade. It's an industrial style, complete with original mounting conduit where the wiring went through. You can see it's white enamelled inside, a little bit of rust staining that may clean up. The original porcelain light fitting, bit of rust as you get, but really nice original piece. It's a pretty large diameter. I reckon it would be almost 18 inches, certainly over 12 inches. So yeah, it's a great piece, all original, taken off some building or industrial type factory or something sometime in the past, and it's been sitting around. I would have got it out someone's shed. It's got a mounting block on the end here, which I think had dewiring, so that's obviously no good, but you could still use the conduit pipe. I did have ideas of maybe mounting this outside my shed at one stage, but I'm not going to get around to it in the near future, and I think I probably just should pass it on. So I'm going to put that in the shop, I think for $50 as is. I do sometimes hang them up. I have a few of these that I've hung up in the shop before and actually had working, and lots of people ask me if they're for sale, and I have sold quite a few of them before. I think we'll go 50 on this one and move it out of my shed. So we'll finish up this video here. We were going to do another cardboard box, but we'll carry that over to the next episode. We ended up with $45, $85, $135 return out of this lot. We get rid of some bigger things, although the fans will sit here until I do a restoration, so I must get onto that fairly soon because I don't want things hanging around waiting to be done. We also got a bit of stuff to keep, as we nearly always do, and a little bit for the scrap bins, and some more stuff for the $1 box that I didn't include. So there we go, not a bad little haul, and we've made some more room. Just tallying up, guys, we've got $5,030 back so far from these 25 weeks of unboxings and getting stuff out of my emergency storage shed. I'm actually loving the journey. I'm enjoying getting through it. We are making space. I'm getting some good shop stock, and I think you guys are enjoying it too. I always seem to get really good analytics through YouTube from these videos, and the retention is great. And many of you who wouldn't know because you don't have channels, we actually get a graph that shows the retention and how long people watch right through the video. And these unboxings seem to do very well. So I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm glad I'm not putting you to sleep, although maybe that's why the retention's good, because you're dozing and you can't click backspace, or you can't click close or another window. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.